Hi, my name is Ron Foley. I'm an architect, author, property developer and mentor. It is important that anybody contemplating becoming a developer is to know why certain developers fail. This video points out mistakes that I've seen developers make over the years since I've been in this industry. It points out the causes of the mistakes and how to remedy these problems. Remember that property development is a high risk, high reward business. Ensuring success in this game is to be well armed with well researched information and follow some basic rules, and of course not to make mistakes along the way. So let us look at what are the 10 most common development mistakes that developers make. Mistake number 1, not focusing on the needs of the market. Over the years, I've met so many developers who have a philosophy of build it and they will come. Many of these developers are no longer in business. They believe what they feel emotionally will apply to the general market. How wrong they were. In order not to make the same mistake, you should have a good understanding of the market, and it is essential that you ask the following key questions. When is the right time to develop? Why do people move? Who are the likely buyers? And what are the buyers looking for? Mistake number 2, failing to buy the correct property. In running my architectural practice, I've met many clients, especially those out of town, who have bought properties that were lemons. Their decisions to buy are varied. Some were driven by emotion, some have influenced by friends without property experience, and some have been overwhelmed by a real estate agent's sales pitch. So when looking at purchasing a property, don't let your emotions get the better of you. Buy with your business mind and apply common sense. Be prepared to buy or lose the property based on your best price. The best time to buy is when the market has bottomed out. And research recent sales results of comparable properties. Mistake number 3, failing to estimate development and building costs. Inexperienced developers tend to underestimate the building costs in their feasibility studies. This often leads to shocks after receiving the final tenders from the selected builders when they find that the construction cost has exceeded their budget. What do they do from here? Do they shelve the project, or do they revisit the plans and look for alternative ways in reducing the cost? In my experience, not all tenders received are within 100% of the budgets. Some are within 10% above or below the set figure, while some others are a lot higher. Therefore, if the price is beyond your budget, then you and your development team should analyze each aspect of the design for potential ideas. Listed below are some possible cost-saving ideas. Reduce the amount of site works. For example, revise and balance out the cut and fill calculations. Reduce the amount of retaining walls and use natural banking. Use natural drainage techniques. Reduce the amount of paved surfaces. Look for cost savings on the exterior of the building. For example, consider other alternative finishes for the exterior facade. Consider other alternatives for roofing material. Use slope systems instead of flat roofs with parapet walls. Reduce the size and amount of glazing. Choose alternatives for exterior construction, which requires less installation time, and redesign the floor plan so that there are less exterior perimeter walls. Look for cost savings on the interior of the building. For example, reduce the floor to ceiling height, use more economical floor finishes such as carpet, which can be used instead of wood, use less expensive toilet fixtures and door hardware, change the type of specified accessories, redesign the floor plan to minimize door and length of walls, and reselect paint colors for less expensive paint. Mistake number 4, failing to organize the right finance package. Things can go wrong. Interest rates increase, the property market dips, your builder goes into liquidation, there is a delay in your planning approval, there is a blowout on your budget, your builder does not meet the occupation deadlines, your purchaser fails to meet the settlement date, etc. It is difficult to forecast these unfortunate mishaps, and they could happen through no fault of yours, but they could occur in any property development. It is therefore wise to arrange a finance package that allows you to flex the payments if necessary. Therefore, find an exceptional financial package from an understanding lender, negotiate flexibility into your development finance with your lender, allow for contingencies in your feasibility studies, and keep some of or have access to cash reserves. Mistake number 5, try to develop and build everything on the cheap. As an architect, I've seen many developments fail to sell because of the greed level of some developer whose pure focus is money. These developers do everything on the cheap. They shop around for the cheapest design and drafting fees. They negotiate the lowest fee structure from consultants and end up with consultants who are less experienced. They incorporate the cheapest building materials, aiming for bigger profit margins. They screen in as many residential units or maximize their plot ratio and look for quantity over quality. These developers ultimately fail, as consumers can see an inferior product and will purchase elsewhere. To be a successful developer, you should aim at achieving good cost-effective design portraying excellent value for money. The simplest way to accomplish this objective is to look for a good architect who has the credentials and an extensive experience in property development. Mistake number 6, using development funds for another project. Developers are entrepreneurs who are continually looking for new opportunities and are therefore invariably offered new land by real estate agents. In taking advantage of a good opportunity, these developers tend to use the funds for another development in belief that the profits generated will pay for the new project. In doing this, the developer can and will end up in financial difficulties, as there are always possible delays or mishaps which can affect cash flow. Therefore, do not commit funds from the sale of one property development to finance another until they are fully realized. Financially, each development should be able to stand on its own and not rely on the finance from other developments. Always view and analyze each new development opportunity independently, that is, arrange its own financial structure and package, and make sure that you do not run short of cash and always have a backup plan. This means having a contingency fund or some other source of finance if your project goes sour. Mistake number 7, developing for personal taste. At times we see developments that have become white elephants. These developments cannot be sold, are overcapitalized and not suited to the market. The result of these failures is either emotional or ego-driven. Therefore, never let emotional ego get in the way of good business sense. Don't buy property that will suit your personality. Purchase one that will have appeal to the market. And don't be swayed by architects or designers who want to create their own edifice. I'm not preaching that one should develop cheap and nasty buildings, but a good architect should be designing pleasing architectural buildings within budgets set in the viability study. Mistake number 8, failing to control cost and budgets. Cost overruns in property development can be the death knell to a developer. Therefore, it is important that as a developer, you should be strict with your budgets, ensuring there is a profit to be made at the end of the project. Your feasibility study should determine how much to spend and where to spend it. And if you make any changes during the construction, ensure that these variations are within budget range and always get these variations in writing. It is necessary that you know what your financial position is at any given time. This becomes significantly important when one is involved in property development. By not knowing what your cash flow position is, your budget restrictions and your bank balance can land you in hot water and potentially to financial ruin. Mistake number 9, failing to get the best advice. Property covers a broad and diversified range of buildings. This need has created specialist consultants operating in specified areas. Before appointing a consultant, ask for a profile of the person or a company to ensure that they have the knowledge, expertise and experience of the type of project you intend developing. Only appoint consultants on the following basis. Who is best qualified for the job? Who has worked on similar projects to the one that you are proposing? Who has a staff qualified to support the size of your project? With whom you have worked with and know their capabilities? Who has been referred to you by another professional? How long has the company been in business? And select them on a tendering process. Mistake number 10. Allowing success to get into your head. If your first development project makes a good return, don't let success get into your head, as it will cloud business sense for your next development. I've seen many developers become arrogant, stubborn, and they believe that they are invincible. Therefore, learn to be humble and grateful for your success, as your next project could be a failure. Don't grab every development opportunity that is offered to you, as it may stretch your financial resources. Calculate the viability of the projects offered and choose only those that will suit your present management and financial capabilities. And remember that there will always be more opportunities around the corner, and one must exercise patience and not greed. Thank you for watching this video. Mistakes can be made by anybody, and not necessarily through property development alone. In fact, in all walks of life. We all cannot avoid mistakes in property development, and at times these mistakes are through no cause of yours and way beyond your control. Only by having sound knowledge of the industry, you will be well armed to see the potential problems. You can therefore plan ahead should any of these problems occur. By reading the books I've written or taking up a mentorship program under my company, AWR International, you will be able to broaden your knowledge in this complex but yet rewarding industry.